Also joining me, Mary Lou Quinlan. She's a high-flying American advertising executive and TV personality whose life changed forever when her mother died. Now, she is at the Edinburgh Fringe with her moving one-woman show, which is based on her book about her experiences. That book, a New York Times bestseller. And thinking of time travel, have you ever for a moment wished that you did have a TARDIS or some other device and could travel back to meet loved ones who are no longer with you, maybe to say the things that were left unsaid when they were alive, to spend a wee bit of time with them, give them a hug, maybe? Well, ideas like that of loss and regret, and maybe most important of all, of letting go, are all interwoven into a powerful Edinburgh Fringe show by American performer Mary Lou Quinlan. And it's based on her New York Times best-selling book, The God Box, and I'm really delighted that Mary Lou joins me now from our Edinburgh studio. Mary Lou, welcome to the programme.
Thank you, Janice. Thank you.
Great to have you here because you're on early afternoon, aren't you? So you've had a busy old afternoon already.
Yes, I did the show at 12:20 today, so I'm ready to talk.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, we should say a bit about your backstory. People might think, oh, she's an actress, she's a performer, but actually you got to the top of advertising and then became well known on American television as a TV personality. Tell us a little bit about that kind of journey through the business world for you.
Well, it really was a journey with a lot of twists and turns. I spent, 35 years in business in the U.S. I was the head of a large advertising agency, one of the only women who hit that spot. And then I founded a company called Just Ask a Woman, just studying women's behavior. I've interviewed thousands of women about their lives. And then the TV thing came along. Yeah, Peter Jones of Dragon Den was the co-producer with Simon Cowell. And they were looking for a businesswoman who wasn't afraid to, I guess, lose her mind or her user humor on television. And so I judged inventions in a panel reality season.
Wow, quite incredible. And now here you are performing at the Fringe. Isn't life crazy? So here's this incredibly successful and amazing, quite pioneering life as a businesswoman. And then we've got this very different, very intimate, personal family story that you tell in the book and now in this one-woman show. Tell us about this then. Tell us about your mum and this discovery you made after she had died.
Yes, I lost my mom on May 29th, 2006, and I have to say that all of that career fireworks hit the wall. She was my best friend and my soulmate. We were the kind of people that if you'd heard us talking, you would have said, what? But we had our own language. We'd be talking and one would say more, and the other, more. It meant I love you more. And we ended every phone call by putting our hands to the receiver and saying, hands on. Hands on. That meant we're never apart. And so losing her just stopped me in my tracks. And she had left behind her God box. My mom was a very compassionate woman. If she met you, Janice, she'd know everything about you. People just spilled their souls to her. And she was such a good listener. And so she felt, though, that she carried all those worries on her shoulders. The worries about her children, her friends, her family, strangers. So she started a God box where she would grab a pen and the nearest scrap of paper and date it, address it, Dear God, write down the concern, real practical, let Janice's ratings go through the roof. Love, well, they already are, but, love Mary. And she'd fold the little paper and put it in the box and let it go. And when she died the next day, my brother said, where's Mom's God box? And I went looking and I found 10. Oh. Filled with 20 years of little scraps of paper of every wish, worry, molehill, mountain of our lives, and even people will never know, all written as letters of petition and hope and comfort.
So you knew about the existence of maybe a God box and that your mum had done this, but you'd no idea of the scale of it.
Exactly. Shocked. Couldn't believe what was in there. So much of our lives, every little thing.
Shocked, but that must have been also, it's a difficult thing because it's terribly emotional. I'm sure you still feel that way now. But what an incredible gift, actually. And an insight into your mother, although you were terribly close, as you say, but did you learn more about her through these?
Oh, so many things. She was real honest. She was honest in life, but I'm saying in the God box, she let it all out. And so you could see things that she kept the way moms do inside, not to trouble anybody else, but she was able to disclose them there. My mother had a blood cancer called myelofibrosis for 20 years. And as I say in the play, we grew up in what I called a never sick house. We didn't want anyone to be sick, and if we were sick, we weren't supposed to talk about it. Dad would say, if you dwell on it, it will just get worse. Well, some things do get worse, and my mom kept a lot of it to herself, but in the God box,
Yeah.
there were so many heartfelt messages. It was really blew me away.
Well, you've told us so much already, but would you just give us a little flavour of what you do, of the performance?
Sure, I'll give you a little feel of Mom and me. My mom was a woman ahead of her time. She did all the mom stuff, but she was one of the only moms who worked downtown in an ad agency. And she used to say, you and I are stronger than we look, one foot in front of the other. And Jack, my brother, and I were the only kids who thawed out food for dinner. And we'd look in the freezer, and lined up would be Tupperware containers with those peel-off paper name tags from her office. And it said, hello, my name is Meatballs. Hi, I'm macaroni and cheese. And my mom had a lot of jobs. Oh, she had a lot of jobs, because if she didn't like the situation, she'd pick up the phone by 10:30. Ray, that's my dad, pick me up at lunch, because I'm not staying here, because these people aren't nice. And she'd quit on the spot and get another job. She used to say, one foot in front of the other. While I started my career in New York City, one high-heeled foot after the other, wearing pantsuits and bow ties, which that business uniform was the biggest waste of the cutest years of our lives. But check. I started my career. And when I went into that God box, Janice, my career was all over the box. I mean, Mom was always the first person I called whenever I had a big pitch. Please let Mary Lou in the Liberty Mutual account, meeting at 4 p.m. Love Mary. And she wrote it on a happy hour coaster on the back of a receipt, a dry cleaner's list. I mean, she always had my back. Dear St. Anthony, please help Mary Lou find a publisher for her new book. And P.S., get her on Oprah, Good Morning America, and The View. Love, Mary.
Absolutely amazing. And how has it been for you then, actually transforming into a performer? I imagine there's a certain amount of performance when you're at a very high level in advertising, and then making the transition to television. How is it though in a smallish venue with an audience, and you're up there doing something, particularly when it's so personal?
I always wanted to be in the theater. I did it when I was in university, and then I went to work, and I am in love. These past 3 years, I wrote the book, and then I walked into the acting class of a woman named Martha Wallner. Martha is a fantastic playwright and director and actor from the Labyrinth Theater in New York, and I have been her student at her knees for 3 years, working so hard alongside all these 19 and 22-year-olds. You know what I mean? And and yes, I am spilling my heart on that stage, but it is my truth. And to connect with people, especially the women of Edinburgh, oh my gosh, they come. And I think, there's that British reserve I've learned, but they are quiet and they watch, and then they start to laugh because it is funny. And then at the end, they're in my arms, and tears, and telling me stories of their moms or their daughters. And then they come back and they bring their daughter or their sister, their best friend. So it's been the most moving experience for me to be in Edinburgh at this festival. And
it's making me think it's also like another gift from your mum, finding this, because it's brought you back full circle to what you maybe wanted to do originally.
Absolutely. And she's with me every time. Before I walk on that stage, I say hands on to her. She's with me.
You talked about the women of Edinburgh, but just finally, you have Scottish connections because the family originally from Scotland. Finlayson!
Finlayson, yes. My grandfather, Alexander Finlayson, came over to America in 1898 at the age of 14 from Govan. And I have been to Scotland several times, tracing my roots, and have gone all the way up to Wick and Thurso and found the grave of my great-great-great-grandparents, Alexander Finlayson and Margaret McAllister.
How amazing.
Isn't that amazing? In St. Peter's Kirk, it's like a 1200 AD church, and there is this stone, and they're there. Isn't that beautiful? I love being here.
And I love the fact this is radio, and there are people listening who are probably very near there. And I also love the fact that I'm in the Glasgow BBC Scotland HQ, which is in Govan.
Yes,
so there you go.
He was on White Street. Check it out.
Mary Lou Quinlan, thank you very much for coming on to the show, and very best of luck with this and all your future endeavours.
Oh, thank you so much, Janice. A real honour to be with you.
Oh, thank you. Mary Lou Quinlan there. So, I bet you want to get along and see that. It's The God Box, A Daughter's Story on Assembly Roxy, which is Fringe Venue 139, afternoons at 12:20. That is until Monday.